The return of the impossible species. The Galactic Council chamber floated in perpetual orbit around the magnificent blue gas giant Marixa, its crystalline structure capturing and reflecting the planet's azure glow across 1,000 facets. Inside, representatives from 53 spacefaring species gathered in their assigned sectors, their voices a symphony of clicks, whistles, vibrations, and translated speech as they debated the finer points of interstellar governance. High Counselor Venix, a tall, willowy Lintari with skin that shifted through shades of violet, raised her six-fingered hands for silence. The chamber gradually quieted as attention shifted to her elevated platform. For 12 millennia, she began, her translator converting her melodic tones to standard galactic common, we have maintained peace among the stars. Our Pax Galactica has allowed civilization to flourish across 27,000 worlds. Today we face a troubling development that requires our immediate attention. A holographic display materialized in the center of the chamber, showing a pulsing red signal against the backdrop of unfamiliar star patterns. 3 cycles ago, our long-range sensors detected this transmission originating from the void sectors. The signal pattern matches no known species in our records, with one exception. The chamber erupted in murmurs as counselors leaned forward. The void sectors, a region of space believed uninhabitable due to ancient stellar calamities, had been off-limits and unexplored for thousands of years. The transmission's encryption sequence bears an 87% similarity to a species long believed extinct, humans. The word hung in the chamber like a physical presence. Even the youngest representatives knew the legends. Humans, the impossible species from a small blue world called Earth. A species that burned bright and fierce across the galaxy for a brief period before their sudden disappearance 5,000 years ago. Impossible, rumbled Dorvan, the massive representative of the silicon-based Karax hegemony. The human extinction event is well documented. Their star system was consumed in the Helios flare. No biological entity could have survived. And yet, Venix countered, we have this signal. I have dispatched Senior Investigator Felix to the edge of the void sectors to investigate further. The display shifted to show a sleek scout vessel approaching a nebula boundary glittering with radiation warnings. Senior Investigator Felix had never believed in ghosts. As a Murian, his species prided itself on rationality and empirical observation. His gray, chitinous exoskeleton housed one of the most analytical minds in Council space, which was precisely why High Counselor Venix had selected him for this mission. Approaching perimeter of designated search zone, reported his ship's eye. Warning, radiation levels exceed safety parameters by 278%. Felix clicked his mandibles thoughtfully. Deploy the radiation shields and continue. If there's anyone broadcasting from this region, they must have found a way to survive these conditions. The scout ship pushed forward, its advanced shielding glowing faintly as it repelled the cosmic radiation bathing the region. For 3 days, Felix followed the signal's trajectory, his instruments scanning for any sign of technology or life. On the 4th day, his sensors detected an anomaly. A small region of space where the deadly radiation simply stopped, as if someone had erected an invisible wall. Fascinating, Felix muttered, directing his ship toward the anomaly. Scan for artificial constructs. Scanning, the AI responded. Anomaly appears to be generated by a network of field emitters creating a radiation-free corridor through the void sectors. Felix's antennae twitched in excitement. Such technology was theoretically possible, but had never been successfully implemented on this scale. The resources and engineering required would be. His thoughts were interrupted as a massive shape emerged from the darkness ahead. His sensors immediately categorized it. A vessel, but unlike any in the Council registry. It stretched nearly 3 kilometers in length, its hull a patchwork of materials that appeared to have been salvaged and repurposed. Yet, despite its cobbled-together appearance, it moved with precise control, adjusting its position to intercept his scout ship. Unidentified vessel, Felix broadcast on standard frequencies. This is Senior Investigator Felix of the Galactic Council. Please identify yourself. For several moments, there was only silence. Then his communication array lit up with an incoming transmission. The view screen flickered to life, and Felix found himself facing a bipedal creature with hairless skin, except for a patch of dark fibers on the top of its head. Its face was arranged in the common bilateral symmetry of carbon-based lifeforms, with two forward-facing eyes that stared directly at him. "This is Captain Elena Chen of the human vessel Horizon's Dawn," the creature said. Its voice translated into Galactic Common. "You're trespassing in New Earth space, investigator. State your business." Felix's analytical mind nearly froze in shock. Human. The creature had called itself human. Impossible. I was dispatched to investigate an unusual signal originating from this region. He managed to respond. "Are you claiming to be a member of the species known as humans? Records indicate your kind became extinct 5,032 standard years ago." The human's face contorted into what Felix's xenobiology training identified as an expression of amusement. "Reports of our extinction were greatly exaggerated," she replied. "Though I admit that was intentional on our part. The Galactic Council made it clear we weren't welcome in their perfect, orderly galaxy, so we disappeared and let you believe what you wanted. But the Helios flare, your home system was destroyed." "Some of it was," she acknowledged, "but we'd already evacuated the majority of our population. The flare provided a convenient cover for our exodus into the void." Felix's mind raced with implications. "You've survived here. In the void sectors? How?" "The radiation alone should have." "We adapted," Chen interrupted. "It's what humans do best. Now I suggest you return to your council and inform them that after 5 millennia of exile, humanity is coming back to the galactic stage, whether they like it or not." High Counselor Venix stared at the holographic recording of Captain Chen with a mix of fascination and dread. The council chamber had fallen into a stunned silence as Felix's report concluded. "They claim to have established multiple colony worlds within the void sectors," Felix explained. Captain Chen provided these coordinates as evidence. The holographic display shifted to show a star map dotted with 17 points of light, 17 worlds, hidden within the presumed uninhabitable radiation zones that had deterred council exploration for millennia. "How many?" asked Counselor Nix of the energy-based Lumidian Collective. According to Captain Chen, the human population now exceeds 28 billion individuals across their colony worlds. Felix replied. "They've developed technologies specifically adapted to harness and neutralize the radiation that protected them from our detection. And now they simply announced themselves." Dorvin rumbled skeptically. "After 5,000 years of hiding, why now?" Venix gestured, and the display changed again to show a massive fleet of ships, hundreds of vessels of varying sizes and designs, all bearing the same distinctive aesthetic as the Horizon's Dawn. "Because they are ready," she said simply. "They believe they are strong enough to claim their place in the galaxy again, regardless of council opposition. The human problem should have been dealt with decisively in the First Era," hissed Ziktar, the reptilian representative of the Sakar Dominion. "Our ancestors were weak. They allowed the humans to escape rather than eliminating the threat entirely. The Council does not condone genocide," Venix reminded him sharply. "Even when our predecessors forced humanity into isolation, they did so believing it was a humane alternative." "What exactly did our ancestors fear?" asked a younger counselor, a luminescent flexion whose species had achieved spaceflight only 3 centuries ago. Venix sighed. "The historical records are incomplete, but they suggest humans possess traits that the Council found destabilizing: unpredictability, aggression, a disregard for established order, most troublingly, an adaptability that allowed them to incorporate and improve upon technologies from other species at an alarming rate." "They were thieves and warmongers," Zakar interjected. "My ancestors' records speak of human military vessels that could outmaneuver our finest ships, using modified versions of our own technology against us. And yet, Venix countered, other records speak of human colonies that peacefully coexisted with Council worlds, of human medical innovations that saved billions across multiple species. The debate continued for hours as the Council grappled with the implications of humanity's return. Eventually, Venix called for order once more. We cannot ignore this development. I propose we establish direct diplomatic contact with these humans. We must understand their intentions before making any decisions about how to respond. I volunteer to lead the diplomatic mission, offered Ilara, the empath representative from Lyra IV. My people are skilled at discerning true intentions. Very well, Venix agreed. Counselor Ilara will lead a diplomatic delegation to meet with the human leadership. In the meantime, I am placing our border fleets on heightened alert. If humanity has indeed returned from extinction, the galaxy as we know it may be about to change irrevocably. As the council session adjourned, Felix approached Venix privately. High Counselor, there's something else. Something Captain Chen said that I didn't include in my official report. Venix's skin rippled with concern. Go on. She said they didn't come back by choice. She said they were running from something worse, something they discovered in the deep void beyond our galaxy's edge. Something that's coming. Venix's eyes widened as she processed this information. Did she elaborate? No, Felix admitted, but she seemed genuinely afraid. And I must say, High Counselor, having met a human face to face, I find the prospect of something that frightens them deeply troubling. In the vast emptiness of space between the void sectors and Council territory, the human fleet continued its steady advance. Aboard the Horizon's Dawn, Captain Alina Chen stared at the swirling cosmic dust outside her viewport and wondered if she'd made the right decision. 5,000 years of isolation had changed humanity in ways the Council couldn't begin to understand. But what lurked beyond the void might change everything. Captain, her first officer reported, our scouts have detected unusual energy signatures at the edge of the Syndicate territory. It's starting. Chen nodded grimly. Alert the fleet. We're about to find out if the Council remembers how to fight. The battle that changed everything. The diplomatic vessel Harmony glided through space toward the designated meeting coordinates. On board, Counselor Ilara reviewed the historical records of humanity for the 12th time. Despite her meticulous preparation, she felt woefully unprepared to face representatives of a species that had become more myth than reality over 5 millennia. Approaching Rendezvous Point, announced the ship's navigator, a 4-armed Tesseran. Sensors detect 3 human vessels awaiting our arrival. Ilara moved to the viewport and saw them, 3 ships of varying designs, each bearing the distinctive patchwork aesthetic that seemed to characterize human engineering. The largest was perhaps a quarter the size of the Harmony, yet something about its angular, predatory silhouette suggested it was far more dangerous than its dimensions implied. Open a channel, she instructed. This is Counselor Ilara of the Galactic Council diplomatic delegation. We come in peace to discuss the reintegration of humanity into galactic society. The view screen flickered to life, showing Captain Alina Chen. She wore what appeared to be a formal uniform, dark blue with silver insignia that matched nothing in the Council's historical records. Counselor Ilara, Chen acknowledged with a slight nod. The Terran Alliance appreciates your willingness to meet. However, I'm afraid circumstances have changed since our initial contact. Ilara felt a ripple of concern. As a Lyran empath, she could sense emotional states even through electronic communication, and the human captain radiated a complex mixture of urgency and grim determination. What circumstances? Ilara asked carefully. Chen's expression hardened. The reason we've emerged from the void. They're here sooner than we anticipated. The Syndicate has launched an attack on the Procyon system. Ilara blinked in confusion. The Syndicate? I'm not familiar with. An alarm blared through the Harmony's bridge. Counselor, called the tactical officer. We're receiving distress signals from multiple Council worlds near the Procyon sector. Put it on screen, Ilara ordered, her heart's racing. The view screen split to show chaotic footage from various Council worlds. Strange ships of obsidian black were descending on populated planets. Their design was like nothing in Council records, organic yet mechanical, with hulls that seemed to absorb light rather than reflect it. Where they passed, destruction followed. The Syndicate, Chen explained grimly. An extragalactic collective of species unified by a hive consciousness. We encountered them beyond the void 2,000 years ago. We've been fighting them ever since. Why didn't you warn us? Ilara demanded. We tried. The signal your investigator detected was our warning, broadcast continuously for the past 50 years. But the Council moves slowly, and the Syndicate doesn't. Chen's eyes were hard now. We need to move. My fleet is already en route to Procyon. Your diplomacy will have to wait, Counselor. Right now, your people need warriors. The Council chamber had transformed from a hall of deliberation to a war room in a matter of hours. Emergency protocols long untested were activated as reports flooded in from the outer systems. High Counselor Venix stood at the center, her usual serenity replaced by focused intensity. The attackers have hit 7 systems simultaneously, reported the Defense Minister, a battle-scarred Taurian. Council defense forces are responding, but we've already lost contact with Procyon II and Deneb Prime. What of the human fleet? Venix asked. Unknown. Our long-range sensors detect a large force moving through the void corridor, but we cannot confirm if they're engaging the enemy or joining them. Ziktar, the Sethkar representative, slammed his scaled fist on the table. This proves what I warned. The humans fabricated this Syndicate threat as cover for their own invasion. Before Venix could respond, the chamber's main display activated automatically. Captain Chen's face appeared, now smudged with what appeared to be ash or soot. Behind her, humans moved frantically across what was clearly a ship's bridge under battle conditions. High Council, Chen said without preamble. We're engaged with Syndicate forces at Procyon II. Your defense fleet is taking heavy casualties. We need reinforcements immediately. The display split to show tactical data. The positions of Council ships, human vessels, and the unknown Syndicate craft locked in chaotic battle around Procyon II. How did you access this chamber's secure channel? Demanded the Security Minister. Chen's laugh was sharp and humorless. Your security encryption hasn't fundamentally changed in 5,000 years, just been patched. Now focus on what matters. Your people are dying while we debate. Venix stepped forward. Captain Chen, we have no verification that these attackers are who you claim, nor that your intentions are defensive rather than opportunistic. Check your feeds from Procyon II, Chen replied. My ships are placing themselves between Syndicate destroyers and your civilian evacuation vessels. We've already lost 6 ships saving your people. I don't have time to convince you. I need to know if Council reinforcements are coming, or if we stand alone. Again. The last word hung in the air, heavy with 5,000 years of history and isolation. Venix looked to her ministers, then back to the screen. The Council fleet at Vega is being redirected to Procyon now. Estimated arrival, 3 hours. They'll be too late, Chen said flatly. But send them anyway. We'll hold as long as we can. The transmission cut abruptly as an explosion rocked the human bridge. Admiral Thorin of the Council Defense Fleet had fought in border skirmishes and pirate suppression campaigns, but nothing had prepared him for the chaos of Procyon II's orbit. His flagship, the Indomitable, emerged from faster-than-light travel into a battlefield strewn with debris and burning ships. Status report, he barked. Multiple Syndicate vessels engaged with remaining Council ships, his tactical officer reported. 19. No, 23 unknown vessels also engage, fighting alongside our forces. The humans, Thorin realized. Put them on screen. The tactical display zoomed in on one of the human ships, a medium-sized vessel that was maneuvering with impossible agility between three larger Syndicate craft. As Thorin watched, the human ship absorbed a direct hit that should have vaporized a vessel its size. Instead, portions of its hull simply reconfigured, the damage seeming to flow and redistribute across its surface. "Their hull technology," gasped his science officer. "It's adaptive, self-healing." More astonishing was the human vessel's attack pattern, where Council military doctrine emphasized formation and synchronized firing solutions. The human ship moved unpredictably, almost erratically, yet with clear purpose. It eliminated Syndicate targeting systems with surgical precision before delivering killing blows to propulsion systems. "They don't fight like any species I've encountered," Thorin admitted. "Order the fleet to coordinate with human vessels. Priority is civilian evacuation protection." As the Council reinforcements joined the battle, Thorin received a direct communication request from a human vessel. "This is Captain Elena Chen of the Horizon's Dawn," came the now familiar voice. "Welcome to the party, Admiral. Hope you brought something stronger than those ceremonial cannons your ships call weapons." Despite himself, Thorin felt a smile tug at his mandibles. "The Indomitable carries the latest Council armaments, Captain. Perhaps not as improvised as your own, but effective nonetheless." "We'll see. Syndicate command ship is hiding behind Procyon Iai's larger moon. They're coordinating the attack from there. My ships are trying to break through, but their defense screen is holding." Thorin studied the tactical display. A direct assault would be costly. "Got a better idea?" Chen challenged. "Perhaps." Thorin's military mind was already calculating. "Your ships demonstrate maneuverability our vessels cannot match. If you can provide a diversion, the Indomitable has a prototype gravity weapon that might disrupt their shields, but we need to get much closer." For the first time, he heard what might have been respect in the human's voice. "Combined tactics. I like the way you think, Admiral. Give us 10 minutes to reposition our more damaged vessels, then follow our lead." The battle for Procyon II became the stuff of legend almost immediately. Council historical records would later describe in meticulous detail how a patchwork fleet of human ships executed seemingly suicidal attack runs against the Syndicate command vessel, drawing its fire while the Indomitable approached from the moon's shadow. What those records couldn't capture was the controlled chaos of the human bridge as Captain Chen directed her people through the most dangerous mission of their lives. "Hull integrity at 38%, reported her engineering chief, a burly man named Rodriguez. "Adaptive systems are failing. One more direct hit on sectors 3 through 7, and we're done. Reroute power from life support to the shields," Chen ordered. "We only need to hold together for 5 more minutes." Her tactical officer looked up in alarm. "Captain, that will leave decks 5 through 8 without." "I know what it means," Chen cut him off. "Evacuate those decks and seal them. Anyone left, put on emergency breathers." As her crew scrambled to comply, Chen opened a channel to the Indomitable. "Admiral, we've got their attention. Their main batteries are tracking us. You've got a clear approach vector for the next 3 minutes. Make them count." "Understood, Captain," came Thorin's voice. "Your sacrifice will not be forgotten." Chen allowed herself a grim smile. "Who said anything about sacrifice? We don't plan on dying today." The Horizon's Dawn shuddered as another Syndicate blast tore through its lower decks. Warning alarms screamed across the bridge, but Chen's attention remained fixed on her tactical display. The Indomitable was moving into position, its massive form gliding silently toward the Syndicate command ship. "Now, Admiral," she shouted as her ship took another devastating hit. The space between the Indomitable and the Syndicate vessel seemed to ripple and distort. For a moment, nothing happened. Then, like a bubble bursting, the Syndicate's energy shields collapsed inward. The massive black ship suddenly lay exposed. "All ships, fire everything you've got," Chen commanded across all frequencies. What followed was a symphony of destruction as human and Council weapons converged on the defenseless Syndicate command ship. Its obsidian hull, seemingly invulnerable moments before, cracked and splintered under the combined assault. Within minutes, secondary explosions cascaded across its surface. "They're breaking off," reported Chen's tactical officer as the remaining Syndicate vessels began a chaotic retreat. "The entire Syndicate fleet is withdrawing from the system." A ragged cheer went up across the bridge, but Chen silenced it with a raised hand. "Damage report." "We're venting atmosphere on multiple decks," Rodriguez reported. "Emergency bulkheads are holding, but main power is failing. Estimate 20 minutes of life support remaining on the bridge." Chen nodded calmly. "Signal the evacuation shuttles. Prepare to abandon ship." As her crew moved to comply, a transmission came through from the Indomitable. Admiral Thorin's face appeared on screen, his alien features unreadable to most humans. But Chen had spent enough time studying Council species to recognize astonishment. "Captain Chen," he said formally, "the Council fleet stands ready to assist with evacuation and recovery. Your tactics were most effective." "High praise from a Council admiral," Chen replied. "I think we all have a lot to learn from each other." "Indeed." Thorin paused. "The High Council has requested your presence once the immediate crisis is contained. I believe there is much to discuss regarding humanity's place in the galaxy moving forward." Chen looked around her dying bridge, at the crew who had risked everything based on her orders, at the view screen showing the remains of both human and Council ships floating amid the debris of the defeated enemy. "Tell the High Council we accept their invitation," she said. "But first, we need to prepare for the next Syndicate attack. This was just a scouting force, Admiral. The real invasion hasn't even begun." 3 weeks later, Captain Alina Chen stood before the full Galactic Council. The chamber was more crowded than usual, with representatives from every member species in attendance. The mood was solemn but charged with an energy that hadn't been felt in the ancient hall for millennia. High Councilor Venix addressed the assembly. "For 12,000 years, the Council has maintained peace through order and stability. We believed our way was the only path to galactic harmony. Recent events have challenged that assumption." She gestured toward Chen. "Captain Chen represents a species that our ancestors feared, a species whose unpredictability and adaptability seemed incompatible with our vision of civilization. Yet when faced with an external threat, it was precisely those qualities that saved countless Council lives." Chen stepped forward. "The Syndicate retreated, but they will return. They've been probing the boundaries of this galaxy for centuries, looking for weaknesses. Humanity encountered them 2,000 years ago, when our deep space explorers ventured beyond the void. We've been fighting them ever since, adapting our technology, our society, even our biology to survive." She activated a holographic display showing the galaxy with ominous markers at its edges. "The attack at Procyon was a test, to assess your defenses and our response. Our intelligence suggests they're massing for a full-scale invasion within the next standard year." The Council chamber erupted in concerned murmurs. Sikar rose from his seat. "And we're supposed to simply trust this assessment. How convenient that humanity returns just as this alleged threat appears." Chen's eyes flashed. "We didn't return to save you, Counselor. We returned because we could no longer hold the line alone. For 5,000 years, we've existed in exile, building our strength in the harshest environments imaginable. For 2,000 of those years, we've been the only thing standing between the Syndicate and this galaxy." She looked around the chamber. "Your ancestors feared what humanity might become if allowed to develop unchecked within your ordered society. They were right to be concerned. We are unpredictable. We do challenge established norms. We take technologies and reshape them in ways their creators never imagined." Chen's voice softened slightly. "But those same qualities are what enabled us to survive in the void, to adapt to the Syndicate's changing tactics, to develop defenses against weapons your scientists would consider impossible. The galaxy doesn't need more order right now. It needs innovation, adaptability, and yes, even a little chaos." High Councilor Venix stepped forward once more. The Council has deliberated on humanity's status. In light of their actions at Procyon III and the intelligence they've provided regarding the Syndicate threat, we propose a conditional reinstatement of humanity as an associate species within Council space. Associate status, Chen questioned. After we saved an entire system. Full membership requires adherence to Council laws and norms, Venix explained. Given humanity's unique approach to galactic affairs, a transition period seems prudent. Chen smiled, a gesture many Council members still found unsettling. We accept your offer, High Counselor. Humanity doesn't need titles or recognition. What we need is allies who will stand with us against what's coming. She turned to address the entire assembly. 5,000 years ago, your ancestors decided humanity was too dangerous to exist alongside your ordered society. Today, that same dangerous, unpredictable humanity might be the only thing that saves that society from extinction. Admiral Thorin, now appointed as the Council's defense coordinator, stepped forward. Captain Chen has agreed to integrate human military advisors with Council defense forces. Joint training exercises will begin immediately. As the Council session concluded, Felix approached Chen privately. I've been analyzing the Syndicate ship fragments we recovered. The investigator said, their technology is disturbing. It appears to be partially organic, with components that continue functioning even when separated from the main vessel. Chen nodded. We call it their adaptive tech. It learns from every encounter, developing countermeasures against weapons that proved effective previously. It's why conventional military doctrine fails against them. They're never vulnerable to the same attack twice. How have humans managed to fight them for so long? Felix asked. By constantly changing our approach, Chen explained. By embracing what your people feared most about us, our unpredictability, our willingness to abandon established methods when they no longer work. She looked out at the stars visible through the Council chamber's transparent dome. The Galactic Council built a civilization based on stability and order. It works beautifully in peacetime. But war isn't orderly. Survival sometimes requires chaos. Felix considered this. Our peoples are fundamentally different in our approaches to the universe. Yes, Chen agreed. And that's exactly why we need each other. Your order, our chaos. Your stability, our adaptability. She offered her hand. A human gesture of agreement that Felix had studied, but never experienced firsthand. Together, we might just survive what's coming. After a moment's hesitation, the investigator extended his chitinous appendage to meet her 5-fingered hand. For the galaxy's sake, I hope you're right. As their hands met, alien to alien, order to chaos, a new chapter in galactic history began. Humanity had returned from the impossible, bringing with them both danger and hope. The species the galaxy had once dreaded might be its only salvation against the darkness gathering at the edge of known space. And for the first time in 5,000 years, humanity was no longer alone in the fight.